Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video I'm going through another Sabertooth commission. This is for a customer of mine that has a few dolls. It's called a Druid and I think it's from World of Warcraft, so stay tuned. Alright, so when I do Sabertooth dolls or anything, I actually just add on the Sabertooth teeth itself to the resin head, and I use this translucent Sculpey or Primo, whatever you can find, and it's just basically a polymer clay which you have to bake in the oven for it to go hard. So luckily the resin, I've done quite a few tests on the resin and it doesn't melt or anything, so you can put it in low temperature ovens. So I just end up modifying my lion sculpt because it's basically a lion with teeth, so I do modify it with this Sculpey, and I prefer to use this Sculpey because it gives a nice translucency to teeth and stuff, so it makes it look a bit more realistic rather than just using white clay or anything. So I know in Australia it's a little difficult to find, but it's not too bad. You can just check out your local craft stores and they should have it around. So once I've baked that in a low temperature oven, I'll then go and paint all the pieces that need to be painted. So I go around the eyes, the nose and the mouth. And also I just might add, when you're baking, I wasn't too sure of how the plastic ball and socket armature would work in the oven, but luckily it withstood anything. Any sort of temperature, so there was no warping, there was no cracking, there was no nothing. So I highly recommend you can just put it in the oven and it won't have any side effects on the ball and socket armature if you do use them. Anyway, so back to the painting. I use a water-based acrylic paint, and it's by the brand Chromacryl, but you can use any water-based acrylic paint that you can find. And I do put a preliminary paint over the top so it has a tooth, so the paint has something to actually stick to because resin is quite slippery. Okay, so the nose of this lion has blue nose, so I'm using Chromacryl paint in a blue, and this particular blue is quite thin, so you do have to use a couple of layers of this paint, but you could also put black underneath and do the blue over the top to get a darker sort of blue, but I ended up just doing a couple of layers of paint with this blue anyway. So the eyes are just a straight yellow, there's no pupil or anything, but I added a little bit of gold into the corners just to get a little bit of sparkle. And then the image that I got had glowing eyes, so I thought I would go ahead and use some glow pigment, and I mix it in with some gloss medium, and that way I can sort of paint it onto the eyeballs and give it a little glow effect. So here's what it looks like, and you can't really tell that it's on there when it's not glowing, so I hope that's a nice little surprise for you. Alright, and painting up the feet now, and it's the same feet that I use for all of my lions. Just a quick little paint job on the soles of the feet because we will cover most of it with fur, so there's no point being too particular about the paintwork. And moving on to the faux fur that I'll be using, and this is the last of the fur of this blue fur that I have. So this will be mainly the body, and I have removed the mane from my pattern because the mane will be a lighter blue. So you can see I've drawn out all my patterns that I have made, and then I'll go ahead and cut it out using a small pair of sharp scissors, and I prefer using a small pair of sharp scissors because I have better control over it and it's not too heavy for my hand. And I can also insert the tips of the scissors in between the fur underneath and not actually cut the pile, because then that kind of makes it useless. Right, so this is the fur that I'll be using for the mane. It's called Mongolian faux fur, but I know I've seen it as alpaca. I think this was advertised as alpaca faux fur, but yeah, this will be the mane that I'll be using. And this is also the last of this blue fur that I have as well, so I'll have to go and sort out some more. And just a quick little look at what it will look like once everything is sewn up. So you can see I have the mane and the body are separate, so they'll have to be sewn separately. So I prefer to sew on a sewing machine only because it's faster for starters, and when you sew with a sewing machine it's a lot stronger than sewing everything by hand. And also I hate sewing by hand as well, so I hate sewing in general, so yeah, so I prefer to use a machine. But you will have to have some bits open to turn the body the right way around, so you will have to hand sew a little bit anyway. So sewing a body will usually take about an hour to 2 hours depending on how complex it is. So something like this that it's a medium complex because it has 2 different colours on it. It'll take me about an hour and a half to sew everything up, just because I procrastinate a lot as well, so I'll stop and change every now and again. So here's what we've got once I've sewn everything up, and you can see I have the back end open so I can flip it the right way around, and everything else is sewn, and also the legs are open so I can easily fit armatures and stuff in between, and it's a lot easier to flip the legs inside out if it's open, unless you have a large leg hole. Yeah, just leave them open, it'll be much easier for you. So here's what we've got once it's been flipped around. You will have to sort of pull out some of the faux fur that's been stuck in where you've sewn, just because this is so long, so you will just end up sewing some of that fur into the stitches, but you can just pull it out. This is just like a little upholstery needle thing where I can easily just pull it out from the stitching. Right, so once that's done, I will then go ahead and put the armature together, and it's just a ball and socket armature, so I do have a video on it. I do want to do another video if anyone's interested in any information about it. Just leave some questions in the comments below and I'll try to answer them in another video. So I go ahead and sew everything up using a ladder stitch, and then I'll end up gluing the faux fur to the resin using a tacky fabric glue. I get mine from a local Spotlight, but I'm sure you can find some anywhere that you live. And as the Druid has a little pattern on its shoulder, I've done it in the past, so I've made a few Druids before. I actually experimented the first one, needle felting into faux fur. I haven't seen anyone else do it, so it's just a little thing of mine, and the only reason I'm showing as opposed to keeping it for a Patreon is because needle felting's an art form anyway, so you can clearly see that it's needle felted. So yeah, I quite like needle felting in faux fur. It gives it a new sort of texture or something like that, and you can add a bit more detail that you can't normally paint on it or anything. So I've needle felted quite a few things. It was a lava dragon that I needle felted, and I really like the way it turned out. I did like the little lava colours underneath, the black lava, so I think it turned out really well. So I really hope to do more needle felting in the future, but I just gotta find the right doll for it. And there you have it! Alright, so this doll had a few accessories in the image that the customer sent to me. So they had like little purple bands around its legs and a collar. So I ended up finding some purple coloured vinyl and just made some little accessories using some Velcro so it's easy to take on and off, and just added some details with some glue and stuff. So the great thing about using Velcro is it's completely man-made, so it doesn't come from any animals. It's not like leather, and it's a lot cheaper than leather as well, but feels the same. So I'm adding these little metallic details. I thought they're like studs or something on the picture. They look like studs. So I had these little silver bead things, so I just attached them using this fabric glue. It just glues like the best, it works for everything, and just attached them on there, and they're stuck like a charm. And here we have the doll all finished. What do you guys think? So I'll give you a little update on any dolls that are upcoming or anything. So I've got a large commission from a zoo that I'm finishing off now. I still have a few dolls to make, so I'm not really finishing it off. But I do hope to have a ring-tailed lemur in the future, and a couple of other little dolls soon, but it won't be, you know, very, very soon. It will be in the near future. Right, and that is it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any requests, you can leave them in the comments down below. You can also check me out on Instagram and Facebook at Creatures of the Net, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!